Welcome to Cincinnati Soccer Talk, the podcast covering all things soccer in the Queen City. So get in touch, soccer fans. Email us at feedback@cincinnati-soccertalk.com. Now, here's your host, Nick Suberling.
Hey, what's happening, Cincinnati Soccer Talkers? Welcome to episode 120 of CST. Glad you're with us. FC Cincinnati once again goes on the road and gets a victory here in the USL, knocking off NCFC 2-0. Of course, we'll talk about last week's Open Cup loss to Minnesota United as they fall in the penalty kicks. And, of course, we're also going to be joined by FC Cincinnati midfielder Michael Lahoud here in about 20 minutes. So we're glad you're with us here on Facebook and on YouTube. Of course, if you're watching us live, you can get in touch with us there. Leave your comments. We'll be reading them. You can also follow us and hit us up on Twitter at Cincy Soccer Talk. And, of course, you can always email us feedback@CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com.
Captains.
We do not have another episode captain this week. CSTers, you got to get on board. Wear the armband for an episode of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. To learn more, you can log on to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. Be an episode captain. You get a shout out. You get mentioned on social media. I mean, all the cool kids are doing it. So go wear the armband for an episode of CST. Again, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. Let's welcome in my cast of characters this week. First and foremost, we welcome back to the show Rob Pierce. Rob, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, Subes. Hello, everybody. I didn't get to talk about my experience at the MLS announcement last week because I wasn't on the show. I pretty much missed everything at Fountain Square, but when I saw video of the chants, I did get some pretty big chills. Instead, I was working in a sports press room for the first time since 2005. Kind of felt like right back at home. Even ran into my old sports editor at OU's student newspaper who was covering the event for the Dayton Daily News, so it was good to catch up with him for a bit. And then on Wednesday at Mecklenburg's, right before the U.S. Open, I ran into the Old Man Ultras, Stone Delicious and Bubbles. So that was fun. Enjoyed talking to them, and you can tell they have fun with their podcasts. So it's good to be back, and looking forward to talking with Michael Lahoud here in a little bit.
Yeah, it's good to have you back, Rob. Of course, you had a great piece over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com discussing Major League Soccer economics, which I'm sure we can at some point this year dive a little deeper into that. A lot of folks probably think that was already a deep dive, but you did a great job on the site there with that piece. So glad to have you back. Also glad to have back Brad Weigel. Brad, how are you?
Good, Seeps. How's it going with you, buddy?
Busy, as you can imagine.
Yeah, no, I'm sure summer's busy with soccer tryouts and all that with the kids, but I want to talk about a couple other kids this weekend. I teach Sunday school at my church every Sunday morning, and normally the kids are going a little bit wild and doing all these dancing things, and they're talking about this Fortnite and that Fortnite, and they're doing all these dances, and I'm trying to stop them. And right in the middle of the class, I'm just, guys, stop. And they go, Jimmy McLaughlin did it last night after he scored a goal. And I'm like, all right, you got me.
Or if you're watching the North Carolina FC feed, it's McLaughlin.
Yeah.
That was quite annoying.
Bang, bang.
That is the voice of Mr. Razzle Dazzle himself, Boston Brazzle. Boston, how's it going?
Hello, Mr. Watcher Tackles. You've given me a lot of grief this last week with Razzle Dazzle.
Oh, it's sticking. I think it's sticking.
It is stuck, and I tell you what, there's nothing like just minding your own business in the media booth, waiting for a lightning delay to end, and all of a sudden hearing Razzle Dazzle, Razzle Dazzle from the stands at an amateur soccer game. So thank you so much for the new torture you have brought upon me.
First of all, I didn't even mention it. You're the one who brought it up. You did it to yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's a great nickname.
Sound like Brian over there shifting blame.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I've been around long enough. I've learned the tricks of the trade from Brian Weigel.
I like it. I think it's unique, and it suits you perfectly, Boston. So I'm glad to have you back. In fact, it's already been mentioned. Trish in the chat room has already said welcome to the Razzle Dazzle Brazzle. No, I think you did a really good job Saturday morning, bright and early on Channel 12 with your little Save the Crew segment. Talk a little bit about your experience there at Channel 12. I mean, that had to be. Have you ever been up that early? And it doesn't count if you were just out previously from the night before.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if I've ever been up that early in the last couple of years, except for maybe like going to the airport. So getting up that early and then having to wake myself up enough to get on television, which I'm pretty sure was live or semi-live, was unique. But surprisingly, it was so early, I didn't even think about nerves or anything like that. I was just like, I'm going to get in there. I'm going to do this interview, hit a home run, and go home and take another hour nap before I have to drive down to Louisville. Or Lexington. So it worked out well.
Boston had a busy day Saturday. We'll make sure we include the link to Boston's appearance on Channel 12, single-handedly saving the crew all by himself. We'll include a link in our show notes this week, so make sure you go check that out at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. All right, let's lead things off with last week's Open Cup loss to Minnesota United. In a match that I thought was really well played by both teams. FC Cincinnati, Minnesota United, I played to a scoreless draw through 120 minutes. It goes to penalty kicks. And anytime you go to penalty kicks, pretty much anything can happen. And that's unfortunately what happened. A lot of folks kind of wondering about the penalty kick selections as far as who took the kicks. But before we get to penalties, let's start with the match itself. Rob, what did you make of the match? I don't know. I thought that was one of the best games FC Cincinnati's played all year.
I agree. The defense, especially the back line, played spectacular. Sam DeVitt and Deco Kanon, they were rocks back there. And Spencer Ritchie didn't have too much to worry about at all until you got to the penalty kicks. And they had a couple of chances that they just missed on the offensive end. And that's the way things shake out sometimes.
Yeah, you make a good point, Rob, with the play of the defense and shutting them out for 120 minutes. I didn't know at one point. I mean, I never felt like Minnesota United was going to score. And I think a lot of that goes to kind of both teams really. I didn't feel like either one was really going to score because they feel like they were missing that stud attacker up top. Even though Emery Welshman, I thought, played a great game, we could have really used Danny Koenig there late in the match, but except he twisted his ankle. If we would have had him, I would have felt very confident we were going to win. But a great defensive display all around. I liked Michael Lahoud controlling the midfield. Cicerone was really putting in some good work on the wings. So even though we lost, I think there's a lot of good things to take away. And I think it just shows even more the competition that's going to be for the spots the next 21 matches of the year.
No, I think, too, what's going to go overlooked. And I think a lot of people, I think he played well in Pittsburgh, Boston. But I thought, Sam DeVitt played pretty well as well against Minnesota. It wasn't like we really missed a beat back there on the back line. I thought he was pretty solid. And to Brad's point, too, I just felt like both teams were, I think they were both playing defensive. They didn't want to get caught on the counter. And so I just felt like there were chances for FC Cincinnati. They just didn't have that guy to put the ball in the back of the net. And that, not to say Emery couldn't, but they were just something was missing.
Going back to Sim DeWitt, holy smokes! It's been a while since we've had a clean sheet if you think about it, and just he was a rock back there. And I've been critical. In fact, when I saw the lineup, I think I told you guys, holy crap, are we throwing in the towel here? Like, what's going on? Why I know we can only use 5 international players, but this isn't my lineup. This isn't what I would roll out. And it turns out that Alan Koch fools me once again because DeWitt was more than up for the challenge. In fact, I would love to see more of him, if Lasso or Keenan get knocked up a little bit and just maybe it's not safe for them to go. I was impressed. He played lights out back there.
He played well, and then he had to take a penalty kick. And look, penalty kicks. I can't sit here and say that this is an easy kick. I mean, you got a spot in the next round of the Open Cup. You're going up against an MLS team. There's a lot of pressure there, and that's not an easy spot to be put in, especially after just playing 120 minutes. But having said that, it didn't start well. Kenny Walker clanks it off the post, and you're thinking to yourself, well, the last time we had a shootout against a Major League Soccer team, what happened? We missed the first penalty kick. Unfortunately, Spencer Ritchie, he got his hands on the first one, but he just couldn't make the saves in the shootout. Is there anything that we take away from that penalty shootout, or do we just chalk it up to, look, they just played 120 minutes. It's a Major League Soccer team, and now they don't have to worry about the Open Cup, and we move on and can focus on USL play?
No, I don't think there's much to take away, honestly. Maybe it's something that they should focus on if we hit the playoffs at the end of the USL season. I would love to see those guys roll out a few more practice runs on the penalty kicks. But in an ideal situation, we'll have some more strikers, and we won't be capped next time with international spots. So, theoretically we'll have a Ledesma, we'll have a Koenig, and I was Walker missing that game. I can't remember, but
no, he took the first penalty kick.
Oh yeah, he took the first kick. But we just need all, if you're reaching for your defenders to take your penalty kicks, especially one that hasn't played yet, then there's a problem with that lineup. But it was understandable because it's US Open Cup.
Yeah, you asked a good question there, Subes. Is being out of the Open Cup, is this a good thing? And I kind of argue it's not a bad thing, but like I'm not jumping for joy out of it because it's another competition, way for our guys to get minutes. And I think you've seen through a lot of our squad rotation lately that our guys can step up, and we don't see that big of a drop off. And so, we've been able to keep guys fresh. They've been in a lot of matches. And then, honestly, once we hit the end of June here, you start to see a lot more spacing between games. You're going to have 4 games in July, 5 in August, I think like 5 in September, 6 in September. So there's not a ton of schedule congestion after the end of June here. And so I think it might be a little tough to get guys minutes. So that's going to be another task that Alan Koch has in front of him, with essentially 18 to 20 players who look fresh, look good, look like they've earned playing time.
Speaking of earned playing time, Rob, I'm going to segue over to you. The play of Russell Cicerone played well midweek against Minnesota, played well again over the weekend against North Carolina. The Open Cup games are where he gets his minutes.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I loved seeing Russell Cicerone, especially on Saturday, and just a few days after he came and played in the U.S. Open Cup. He's making the most of his well-earned time, and I'm probably getting a little ahead here, but looking at Saturday, what a run he had on goal, man. He just ran straight at the keeper and shot it, and that's something that this offense could really, really use. Make something happen and let the defense, respond.
You were going to say something before I rudely interrupted you, though.
Oh, what I was going to say is that there is one good thing that I take out of the U.S. Open Cup being eliminated, is that Louisville and Nashville, let them beat themselves up. I mean, I know they're going to play next week, and one of them's going to drop out, but a part of me is going to root for Louisville to win another game or two, and let them have the schedule congestion that FCC had last year, and maybe it'll be to FCC's advantage.
You're fired, Rob.
But they don't care about the cup, guys. It's not an important competition. Did you see everybody up in arms and how excited they were that they beat the Revs? And don't get me wrong, that's a good feat. But a year ago, they were sour grapes, and here we are. It's funny how that's flip-flopped. I agree. I think it's a good thing they lost. I wasn't rooting for it, and I've been saying it for a few weeks now. Like, I wasn't up in arms that I wouldn't be up in arms if they had been knocked out of the Open Cup early. We saw what the schedule congestion did to this team a year ago. Yes, it was great that we had the Final Four run, but duplicating that feat this year was pretty unrealistic in my eyes. So, look, they played well against a Major League Soccer side and kept a clean sheet, which is something they hadn't done in what felt like forever. And now we move to Saturday, which they did it again, 2-0 win over North Carolina FC.
Well, hold on, Subs, real quick. Let me give my Kermit the Frog drinking, it's in this case a beer impression. I'll be impressed when they get to the semifinals.
Okay. I was wondering where you were going with that. Okay. For those of you who are not watching the podcast and listening to the audio afterward, that was good audio, Boston.
Thank you.
All he did was take a sip of his beer. Anyway, we move on. North Carolina FC and FC Cincinnati, they battled over the weekend. The Orange and Blue get to win 2-0. First goal coming off of a fantastic run from Russell Cicerone. Splits the two defenders, fires off a shot that Alex Tambakis, the North Carolina FC keeper, should have parried over his crossbar. Instead, it goes straight up in the air, and King Koenig knocks it in with his head to take over the all-time goal-scoring leadership in club history with 17 now. That's the first goal. And then Jimmy McLaughlin, late in the game, cleans up a shot that was taken by Emery Walshman. It was saved by Tambakis, kind of deflected across the 6-yard box. And as I said during the North Carolina broadcast, Jimmy McLaughlin cleans it up, puts it into the side netting, 2-0. That's how it finishes. Back-to-back clean sheets for FC Cincinnati. And again, I know a lot of praise has been going towards the offense the last few weeks, but they've been kind of giving up some really cheap goals. It was really good to see them have back-to-back clean sheets this week, guys.
Yeah, I think Evan Newton did a really solid job on Saturday. I really have to credit the play of Forrest Lasso. You know, he did a great job stepping in the way of several North Carolina shots. I think even the coach mentioned from North Carolina that even though they had 20 shots, nothing really challenged the keeper. Everything was kind of outside or deflected or blocked by our players. And so I think it was good that they stepped up. They made things difficult for North Carolina. They've clogged the lanes. And you're starting to see the guys become familiar with each other. And also I think there's one common denominator between both of those matches, both Wednesday and Saturday. And that was the play of Michael Lahoud. I know he's going to come on the show here in a little bit, and it might be something we talk about how his play is going to influence the team the rest of the year. But the guy's just a rock. You've seen his impact immediately on the defensive side of the ball with this club, and I'm looking to see how things continue to develop, and him and being reunited with Richie Ryan, how they continue to build upon that chemistry.
I think too, and again, I don't want to sell Evan Newton short here because I think he had 3 really good saves. The last one being a shot from at the top of the box where FC Cincinnati's been really bad the last few weeks, giving up goals from there. A deflection off of Lasso's leg that could have found the corner, and it was just a quick reaction save from Newton to keep the ball out of the net. And then I think he also had one in the first half that he tipped over the bar. It was kind of a long-range shot. But you're right. I mean, North Carolina did get off a lot of shots. A lot of them weren't on frame. But it was a good thing that Evan Newton was up to the task on a couple of them. He also saved a header off of a cross there in the first half too. So Evan Newton played well. Patty Barrett played well. But I still go back to Cicerone, guys. He's been lightning on that right side, Boston.
Shoot. And you know what? He delivered when FC Cincinnati needed him to deliver. You know, in a game like that where North Carolina's not necessarily letting us have our way through the middle, he just decided to one-man it, and great ball control, dodging defenders, drives into the middle of the box. And sometimes that's what you need. You know, you just need a guy who's going to take a risk. And we've seen, you know, this team is pretty well put together. They've got decent chemistry, but the one complaint I would have, you know, on a game where we draw or lose or, you know, just barely squeak out a win is that we don't make enough chances for ourselves. We don't make our own luck. And Cicerone just going into the middle on his own, taking a shot, which clearly could have been a goal. And it surprised me that it wasn't. Great defending by the keeper. And then it gives that chance to Danny Koenig and makes him become the goal leader for FC Cincinnati.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Boston. It's him going in, penetrating. You know, too often we've resulted in the past of long crosses in that are easily defended. When you have a player like Cicerone who's able to take on players, it's another thing for their defense to focus on. You know, so that has to pull a defender off of Welshman, who had a great game Saturday. It pulls a defender off of Koenig. It makes more space for Ledesma. So I like the addition. I'm not saying he's replaced some of the guys ahead of him, but I think he's probably forced himself into that one of the first couple impact players off the bench.
Let's talk about the I don't know, the elephant in the room, or the event that happened in the first half. Not sure what Manu Ledesma was doing. He drew a yellow card. which means that is his 5th yellow card, so he will be missing the match Wednesday night against Steel FC. It was odd, I'll be honest, watching it on TV, watching it on replay, seeing their fans basically enter the pitch. I mean, they didn't come on the field, but they were inside the field of play. The only thing holding them back was the video scoreboards, or the whatever you want to call them down there. That had to have been odd. I would say his reaction wasn't the best. Did the referee need to issue a yellow card for that? I think there should be maybe a little bit more understanding there. But guys, what do we make of this? I mean, now he's going to miss the match Wednesday.
Great bit of reporting from Neil Morris over in North Carolina after the game. He dug around it and got to the bottom of it. He asked North Carolina's coach. He refused to comment. Asked Alan Koch. Alan said, yes, Ledesma's got to keep us cool. At the end of the day, Ledesma's got to keep us cool. And then we got the real story from the man himself. Ledesma went on and was quoted saying, last year I had the same problem. Last year I played for the New York Cosmos. They ran down in that corner like that, and I feel like it's an unsafe environment for players. And I told the referee about it, and he agreed, and he backed the fans up. And this year, I was yelling at the referee, saying, "I don't feel safe. This isn't a good environment. I don't want to take this kick with these fans right there." And the ref disagreed with him this time, and told him that if he wasn't going to take the kick, then it's a delay of game, yellow card. And so that's kind of what happened. And Ledesma agreed that, he won't be making that mistake again. He realizes it's kind of an error.
But is there any chance that common sense plays into this here, guys? Is there any chance the league looks into this to rescind the yellow card, or is this, I don't know, much ado about nothing? He's going to sit out Wednesday, which he might have done anyway on short rests. Do you have any thoughts on this, Rob?
Here's my thoughts, and it's a little bit contrary to what Brad was saying, and it might not be exactly popular, but these tickets, these fans, okay, so they got out of their seats. Big deal. They bought a ticket to the match. I'm betting there's bleachers, it's GA. They can go wherever they want so long as they don't enter the pitch without consequence. And I say that to say this: what would happen if an opposing player tried to get the ref to do something about something that the Bailey did? The Bailey would eat that player alive. Now, not going to be running all over, at Nippert or anything like that. But I mean, if the shoe were on the other foot, the Bailey would have eaten that player alive.
Yeah, it's stupid what the fans did. I get why they did it. I don't like it. It's a little bit childish, but with his pedigree, him playing all over the world, he's got to get used to that. And he's got a little flair for the dramatic. He just got to do better. And Alan said, "Yeah, it sucks, but it's a yellow card, so just got to do better." I don't want our players to have to go into any unsafe environments, but come on, they're not going to do anything wrong.
It was odd. It was odd to watch, but it means he's going to miss the next match against Bethlehem Steel. So somebody else is going to have to step up in his stead. So that's FC Cincinnati again. Get another road win. They continue to lead the Eastern Conference. They've got a couple of games in hand over Louisville, but they are playing really, really well. And speaking of playing well, we're really excited to have joining us on the Kings Hammer Hotline FC Cincinnati midfielder Michael Lahoud. Michael, thanks for joining us here on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. How are you?
Hey, guys. Good evening. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well.
No problem. Thank you for being with us. Great win on Saturday. How did it feel to get the win? How did it feel to keep another clean sheet?
It felt good. What's really gratifying about it is it felt like it was such a team performance. The conditions, the field was incredible. That's my opinion, and a bunch of the guys and I were talking about it all weekend. It's probably one of the best playing services you'll find in the entire country, so that says a lot. But just dealing with the circumstances of having short rest, having different guys in and out of the lineup, it was really, really satisfying to get a win like that. Where at times we played really good football. I thought towards the end of the game, in particular, killing out the game. These are things that I think are going to really serve us as the season goes on, and being able to establish those tendencies now.
Let's talk a little bit about the match Saturday night, because there was a lot of confusion for you, particularly. What the heck happened?
You know, it was. I'm still trying to get my head around it, but as far as I know, it was just a bit of a miscue on the lineup, and you know, the biggest focus I think for me wasn't the miscue. But I think it's the old adage of these are character moments, and so I was preparing myself to hopefully come in and help see out the win or whenever called upon, and it turned out I was going to be called upon 10 minutes before the match. But these are moments that you either let break you or grow you. And, fortunately, it's something that, I now can turn on experience and add to my experience of you never know when your name's going to be called, so always be ready. And I'm glad I was.
So in the preseason, we sent Nick and Bill down to Florida, and they got to interview the team and got to learn about got to learn a little about all the players. We didn't get that chance with you being a late arrival. So,
yeah.
Before playing for FC Cincinnati, how much had you heard about the club?
I had heard quite a bit. Obviously, playing against the club last year in the Open Cup, that was such a shock to the system. We, as a group, we were familiar with the Tampa Bay Rowdies because of our experience in the NASL. But I really, was talking to Danny Cooney today at practice. We were talking about that game, and I really tipped my hat to the group last year. I think the guys that have worn the jersey and stepped on a nipper in different fields, they've really laid the foundation and done all the right things to get the club and the organization to this point where it's thriving. And that was on display in the Open Cup game. It felt like we were playing against a unit who was passionate, who knew who had a game plan, who were committed to it. And, we're committed to keeping this dream of doing something ambitious alive. And this year, I knew even more about the team. The likes of a Corbin Bowen, who won the national championship at Wake Forest. Being familiar with him, I think he's a brilliant player, still is. Richie Ryan, who we have a very good chemistry on and off the field. He's an Irish brother from another mother. Blake Smith, my time in Miami, he's probably got the best banter, maybe second best behind Patty Barrett in the locker room. But it also playing against so many guys in the NASL, it made transitioning to FC Cincinnati, I feel like I knew the team already. I pretty much knew probably over half the guys in the locker room. And then from there, you just find your way. You find guys you gel with. But it really made transitioning here a lot easier.
Michael, Rob Pierce here. Kind of a follow-up of that. You mentioned you kind of felt like you knew some of the players. How have you been able to get up to speed with the club? Did anybody help you acclimate faster? And what kind of helped you out in that regard?
Yeah, I think the relationship with guys, it took I think when you transition to a new club, and there's a lot of excitement, there's a lot of buzz going on. I mean, a lot's happened in the 2 months, just under 2 months I've been here already with this club, and a lot of really positive things. The tendency is you want to make a hit immediately, and you almost try and do too much. And what I think the staff did in particular was when they brought me in, they told me, they're excited to have me here, that they're looking forward, to add me to the group. But they also did a good job of being patient and when to, slowly, add me into games. And, I came at a very odd time. It was after preseason. I still had to get match fitness, still get a little bit of, South Beach rust off, and get up to playing speed, with a quality group of guys. And I'm really grateful that they gave me a little bit of that grace period to get back in sync of, being in a really awesome professional environment. And, I feel like I'm starting to hit my stride a little bit, and I'm really enjoying my time here.
Hey, Boston here, also known as Razzle Dazzle, apparently now. We have, let's see, a Twitter question for you from Kevin Russell. I think it's at
Yep.
ROSSELLOK. Also, real quick, I wanted to give him a shout out to his daughter Corey, who's apparently a huge super fan. But he wanted to know, what other positions can you play, and what's your dominant foot?
So I can play pretty much just about anywhere in the midfield. And I can also play outside back. I can play right back, which is, I've had experience playing at MLS and internationally with Sierra Leone, as well as in the NASL. And I've pretty much played everywhere except striker and goalie throughout my career, but central midfield is where I feel most comfortable. And on most days, my right foot's my dominant foot, but if you catch me on the odd day, I have a sweeter left foot than Richie Ryan, but that's the odd day.
Last year,
I'm going to get caned for that in the locker room.
we can settle this, Michael. We had a video last year of a crossbar challenge, so I think we just found our first 2 participants, Subs.
Yeah, I agree.
I would love to take my buddy in the crossbar challenge. He has to shoot with his right foot first.
And then I think Michael or Kenny Walker won, so I think there's our third.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Kenny's definitely. I think Kenny practices that every day. So I think Richie and I'll have to play for the right to play against Kenny.
So you talked a little bit about how you're very flexible on the field, but you like to play in that central midfield, especially. What can fans expect of you from your style of play? What are you looking for when you're on the pitch?
I think being very adaptable. When I play, obviously fulfilling my role. I usually play as a holding midfielder. That's what I've played throughout my career. But I think there's different facets to my game. I feel very comfortable on the ball. I think some of my strengths are short passing, playing passes between the lines, and also my ball retention. I'm very fit, so I cover a lot of ground. Whether it's 90 minutes or 120 minutes, and I think keeping the game simple when called upon, but. Something that I think I've learned through experience is adapting, to what the game needs, and adapting my strengths to the strengths of those in the midfield and the surrounding pieces around me. I know how to play when I'm playing with Richie. Obviously through experience, I'm learning how to play when I play with Kenny. Who drops back, to get on the ball more, who gets in the box more, who links, controls the tempo more. Obviously, if you play with someone like Corbin Bowen, a wise man would usually just win the ball and give the man the ball as soon as possible and let him do his magic. And, I've played with Will Seymour, so I've gotten a lot of good practice getting a feel for playing with different guys. And I'm looking forward to continuing to improve and most importantly, just help the team win games. I think that's been my biggest motivating factor.
I want to follow up on something because in those videos I was talking about Florida, several players talked about Corbin Bowen, and you just mentioned, his ability on the field. What does he give off? What does he do to make you guys better, and how do you help him out as well?
When I first saw Corbin at college, he always played with this swagger about him, and it's really awesome to see that he's kept that swagger, because I think that's what makes Corbin. He has the ability to pick up the ball and beat guys on the dribble, to make the last pass, to score a goal. He has all the he has the quick change of pace to get away from players. He's a guy that usually makes the right play at the right time to help you win a game. And those are the guys that usually they're the hardest to find, and they're the most unique. And as a holding midfielder, those are the guys that you really enjoy doing the dirty work and pretty much laying the game at their feet and saying, go on, win us the game. And so since I've been here, I've definitely seen Corbin have his moments of, I remember my first game, being such a catalyst with the assist of Danny Koenig against Pittsburgh, working his socks off to win the second ball and then making an inch perfect pass to Danny, to get the goal and really get us back in the game and start the comeback. And he's had different moments. My debut game against Indy, it was the Corbin Bowen show. Just the goals he set up, the assists he got. And it felt really, awesome to be able to still have that connection, getting the game-winning assist to him, in that game, to still have that, we still have that connection from college, knowing where he's going to be, knowing when to get him the ball, where to get him the ball, and so he can really impact the game, like I know he can, and I think everyone here in Cincinnati knows he can.
And this whole time, I thought Corbin Bowen's talent came from his hair. You ruined it.
Nah. We're talking about hair. I've got the best hair on the team.
Whoa!
It was between me and Justin Hoyt, and that's no.
We got to tell Annie, man. She's got to get on this. She got to get working on Corbin.
Hey, Michael. Hey, Michael. Rob again. Got a question from listener Bill Budke, and he wants to know how long you would like to keep playing and what you have planned when you're finished with your career.
That's a good question. I want to keep playing as long as I can. I absolutely love this game. I love everything about it. The thing that inspires me, to love the game even more is the stories that are told through this game. I have my own story. Everyone has a story. Even the fans have their own story. Soccer can make a difference. That's what I've learned in my career, and it's been really awesome to see the difference that soccer is making in the city, and so to be a part of it now, and you never know where the future takes you, but to hopefully be a part of it, moving forward, to be really special, and it has been really special. And after soccer, I do a lot of philanthropy and a lot of stuff in the community. So helping people has always been something that makes me come alive. It's something I grew up learning. My family, it's something that I'm very passionate about. So I don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but whatever I do as a day job, as long as it's geared towards helping others, that'll bring me a lot of life satisfaction.
You talked about some of your teammates. I kind of want to know from you, we got, I want to say 21 games to go. We're heading into summer. Yeah. What will this team need to do to stay at the top of the table, and what are some areas you think that we'll see improvement upon?
I think the biggest thing that we learned in Miami, was we will get everyone's best game from here on out. We earned that through two things. One, the talent that's on this team, and with that comes the culture, the culture that's been established through the organization, the culture that's been established through the incredible fans. People want to play here. People want to be here. Other players do. And so with that, guys are fighting to take your job. And with the exciting announcement of the team moving forward to MLS, that just upped the ante. So knowing that we will get everyone's best game, that's exciting. This is why you play the game, to show that not only it's not just about results, but I think there's a pride element of we're better than you, and we're going to show it in all aspects of the game. And so I think if we take that battle mentality of knowing that we are in for a battle every game, that takes the pressure off going in every game. And I think most importantly, there's nothing to fear. I think if we look at being in the position we're in, we've done it through hard work and being fearless. and there's been bumps in the road, but we've shown a lot of character in responding. And those are marks of not just a good team, because good teams come and go, but a great team. And I think, on an individual level, I think as we go through the season, everyone is going to have to learn what their role is and how their role is evolving, because different games call for different roles. And we all want to be the guy, because that's why I play the game. We all want to be the guy who influences the game, who everyone's talking about. But there's going to be different games where you're going to have to do the gritty work that no one's going to talk about, that no one may not even notice, but it's going to help win a championship. And that's what really excites me about this group, is there's a willingness to learn and grow in each of our roles and what's demanded of us throughout this year. So I think it's going to be a very exciting year.
I'm glad you brought that up too, Mike, because over the weekend, and actually the last two matches, if you include the Open Cup game, we saw a guy in Russell Cicerone really make a name for himself the last 2 weeks or the last two matches.
Yeah.
Talk about what he's added to this group.
I love what Russ is showing. Russ is, I think if he's not the youngest guy, he's one of the youngest guys. Russ is an out-and-out winger. Everyone knows CR7. Well, we have RC7 on our team. Dances by defenders. I mean, I think I saw someone tweet that RIP to the defender on Carolina, and he absolutely destroyed him. That made me laugh, and the rest of the team laughed. But Russ brings an element to our team that's so much needed. The ability to be able to drive with the ball, change the pace, turn defenders inside out is something that brings balance to our team. I think we have a lot of good passers, but what will make our team that much more dynamic is having someone who can bring that one-on-one ability, because those are the small moments in the playoff game or a game to potentially win you the regular season that can decide a game on the offensive end. So I think as guys like Russ, guys like Jimmy McLaughlin, who are good one-on-one, Daniel Haber as well, our wingers, as they can grow in confidence and really fine-tune their one-on-one abilities, our team grows in confidence because we now have a new element to add to our arsenal.
All right, Mike, we're going to put you on the spot now. It's our newest segment. Yeah, we debuted it a few weeks ago when Emery came on the show, but now it's your turn. It's time for Rapid Fire with Michael Lahoud. All right, so first question, Messi or Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
That was easy. Why Ronaldo?
Messi is a genius. Messi is the most talented player in the world. But Cristiano Ronaldo, he's been on two of the biggest clubs in the world, and he just gets the job done. The short answer is I'm a Manchester United fan.
Oh, we are going to be such good friends now, Mike. We are going to be such good friends now. Oh, I love it.
So there's the short answer.
All right, so you played for the Sierra Leone national team, but which team are you rooting for in the World Cup this year?
I always root, being from West Africa, I always root for the African teams. Of the African teams, I've got a soft spot for Egypt. I love the country. Spent holidays there, and the people are amazing. Mohamed Salah, the season he's having is incredible. So I hope they perform a miracle and win it all. But most likely, on a realistic standpoint, the way the talent Brazil has, the cohesiveness, and getting someone like Neymar back, he's catching fitness, but if you get Neymar firing on all cylinders, they're going to be very difficult to deal with. I don't think anyone wants to play them.
Speaking of, of course. Speaking of FIFA, we all want to know, where do you rank on the team amongst the top video gamers in FIFA?
Oh man, I'm probably like towards the bottom. I don't want to say it. I think I would get absolute. I know I'm towards the bottom because I've never played. I don't play many video games, and I have no clue what Fortnite is. and that's the tell. I don't play many video games because there's a Fortnite club on our team, just like most teams. And I think I would have to spend an entire summer playing FIFA to get ready for some of the guys on our team. So I think it'd be a poor showing by me.
I guess you can eliminate my next question, which is, will you do a Fortnite dance when you finally score? So I guess that's out.
I'm more likely to either do Gangnam Style, or if Richie Ryan's on the field, probably get screened, get the ball, and just get back. One of the two, depends who we're playing.
We are holding you to the Gangnam Style, so.
Oh, that's fantastic.
All right, there's a couple of people that are as well, a couple of friends from around the country that are.
All right, what's the last movie you saw?
Last movie I saw, it was Deadpool 2.
All right. Let's see here. This is from Jamie Lay on Twitter. What is your favorite thing about Cincinnati so far?
Favorite thing about it, I would have to say, and this is non-soccer?
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I like the Indian food. It's not known for Indian food, but there's let me retry that one. I think just how friendly people are.
All right.
It's a breath of fresh air. I've lived in different parts of the country, and I've never lived in the Midwest, and there's just this genuine friendliness and interest in getting to know you and what brings you to Cincinnati. I think a lot of people from Cincinnati love Cincinnati, and that's refreshing to be around.
You mentioned Indian food. So what's the last restaurant you've been to?
Man, the king of King Koenig will appreciate this. It's called Sean. It's in Oakley.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. What boots do you wear?
I wear Umbro.
Nice. What's been your favorite moment as a pro?
Favorite moment as a pro, probably playing for Sierra Leone and assisting on one of the goals to help us qualify for the next round for the African Cup of Nations.
That's a good moment. That's hard to top that one.
Yeah.
All right. Who's the hardest defender to go up against in practice?
I would say, I think he reads the game very well. I say Sim DeWitt.
All right. I feel like the dominant answer has been Deckel. He's got to be a brute as well.
Well, Deckel's usually on my team. I make sure that happens.
Oh, cheaters never win, right, Mike?
Yeah, they make it to the championship though. So.
All right, so we got this from.
I'm not going to refer to who I was talking about.
Nice. We got this from Twitter. This is from Trisha, and I'm assuming this must be a Harry Potter thing. What is your Hogwarts house?
Gryffindor.
Wow, I don't know what that means, but okay.
Trisha's more of a Slytherin, I think.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I've got to say Gryffindor. My younger brother, had the biggest crush on Hermione, so that's how I know Gryffindor. It's all he ever talked about.
Oh man, that is fantastic.
Still do.
You're officially off the hot seat now, Mike. We appreciate you spending some time with us. I know that was rough.
Whoa.
Thank you guys. No, thank you guys for having me. I had some fun.
Subes.
What?
Subes, there's still one question you have to ask this man.
Yeah, you're right. It's not necessarily a make or break kind of deal here, Mike. But obviously, you talked about Cincinnati and how great the people are, and that they love their soccer, but they also love their chili. Have you had a chance to have Skyline chili yet?
Well, since I know this is going to get back to the manager, and you might be listening, no, I haven't.
Oh.
And that's okay. That's all right. We understand. It's not exactly the best in-season food.
Here's something for you. We win this year, I will be the first person ordering Skyline chili. I will take the trophy to Skyline chili and eat out of it from there.
That's
you have my word on that.
all right.
He will eat chili out of the cup.
I'm there. I'm leaving
Out
the
of
match.
cup.
I'll skip Alan Koch's press report. I'll beat you there just so I can get a spot.
Yeah, I'm there as well, Mike. That's a great idea. We're gonna hold you to that, man.
All right.
Well, we appreciate
Good
you.
night for everyone.
Yes, we appreciate you spending some time with us. I mean, this was a fun interview, a lot of great insight, and we're really glad you joined the Orange and Blue because you've made a massive impact on this club here in just a short amount of time, really. We're excited to see where this team goes the rest of the season. We appreciate you being with us, and we're looking forward to having that Skyline at the end of the year, man.
Thank you guys for having me. I had a lot of fun, and look forward to seeing you guys Wednesday.
That's right. That's right. Good luck against the Steel, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Thank you.
That's
Have a good night.
you too. That is Michael Lahoud joining us here on the King's Hammer Hotline. Mike and I are going to be good friends from here on out. Now that I know he is a Manchester United fan. Woo-hoo!
He did so well up until that point. He did. He was awesome. That was great.
Yes, he was.
Can I
No,
just
seriously.
say? Can I just say real quick? I genuinely believe, and I'm sure Kevin McCloskey is going to take exception to this, but he's got a future in television. I think he did a fantastic job.
Either that or coaching, because I mean, look,
That too.
Two players that he has said that have really come on the scene lately have been Sem DeVitt and Russell Cicerone, and I'm not shocked or surprised by that. Especially you got to have you have the influence of a veteran like Michael Lahoud on those two guys' careers. You have the belief and trust in a player like that of those two young guys. I'm not shocked to see those two emerge.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to make a fantastic coach someday. Obviously, he very well spoken, and we appreciate him spending a few minutes out of his busy week to be with us here on CST. All right, this is our chance during the show to give a shout out to our massive supporters. We want to give a shout out and big thanks to Tim Bronsel with King's Hammer, Matt Adamczyk, Mama Subes, Brian Malone, Jamie Smed, Mike Hudson, Jonas Tom, Jack Emery, Mike Bowman, Jesse Gill, Kathleen Francis, Jesse King, and Teresa Everidge. Thank you so much for your support of Cincinnati Soccer Talk. To learn more about how you can support the show, you can log on to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/support. Real quick, if you're not subscribed to the podcast, I don't know why. We've got March to Match Day out. Brian Weigel had a chance to sit down with Evan Villela. I probably butchered that name. He covers Bethlehem Steel, so go get subscribed so you can download that podcast so you can find out more about Wednesday's opponent. We'll briefly take a look at this. The Steel, obviously, the last time these two teams faced off earlier in the spring, it was a 1-1 draw out in Bethlehem. The Steel are pretty good. They're coming off a 0-0 with Louisville City. They're also coming off a short rest as well. Anything that excites you about this match, Rob Pierce?
Exciting. I wouldn't say excited. This is a team that's better than people think. Their form's improving. They just beat the Red Bulls 2-3-0. Road wins at Indy and North Carolina. And Saturday, as you mentioned, they played 0-0 to a draw. To a 0-0 draw. This is a really good defensive team. Only 3 times have they allowed more than 1 goal in a match, and that hasn't happened at all since May 12th at Charleston. So especially with Ledesma being forced to sit, this is definitely not a guaranteed 3 points for FCC.
So go check out March to Match Day. Again, Brian does a good job of covering that game. Obviously, we know it's a midweek game, and then they've got Richmond over the weekend. Maybe Brian's planning on doing something with the Richmond guys. I'm not sure. I know he did last year. Didn't we send those guys some Skyline? Didn't we send
Oh yeah, we had the Total Soccer Show guys on.
Yeah.
We sent them some Grippos.
That's right. Oh, Grippo sounds so good right now.
Yeah, I'm excited for Saturday. Be at home. Looks like a good weekend. Ledesma's going to be out midweek from his yellow card, as we mentioned before. But, against Richmond, they're really well coached by Lee Calshaw. He's been their coach for a long time there, and even though they're in 13th place, the guy does a lot with little. So they will never make it easy on anybody, that's for sure. So even though they might be lower in that table, we really need to put our game face on and put maximum effort there. It's not going to be a walkover like we've seen. It's going to be tough versus everybody this year, minus Toronto.
Yeah, I think both games actually can be very challenging, especially if each team plays their star. You know what I mean? You got Burke with the Bethlehem Steel, and it's always a gamble whether he'll be with the Union or with the Steel. But if he does happen to be there Wednesday, this is no joke. Even without him, but if you add him into the match, you've got a dominant striker that's already scored this year in MLS. And Richmond, same thing. They've got Dane Kelly on loan from DC. He's not always there, but if he is, watch out. Guy was the number one scorer in the USL. 1 or 2 last season.
Golden Boot last year.
Yeah. Whew.
So we might get a little bit lucky there versus Richmond though on Saturday, because they have a game. If you're listening, it'll be Tuesday night against Penn FC, and they don't have quite the depth as FCC does. So that's something Alan Koch definitely has to plan for when looking through rotating his squad as well.
But the other thing too to remember, and you mentioned Lee Calshaw, Brad, this Richmond team, I believe, FC Cincinnati in their short history has only beaten once. They've only ever gotten 3 points off of Richmond one time, and it was last season. So it's a team that they have historically struggled against. A couple of draws, a couple of losses, I believe. But they've only gotten 3 points once on Richmond. So just because they're in 13th place doesn't necessarily mean anything. You got to. But by the way, these two matches, these are the matches you've got to take maximum points from, because the schedule is going to toughen up. Even though Tampa Bay is struggling right now, they're going to be a tough foe here in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
So
it's a great point. Like you said, we got Bethlehem, Richmond, Toronto, and Ottawa, to end June here. But then our July is a bear, because you have at Nashville, you got Tampa Bay at home, you got Charlotte at home, and New York Red Bulls too. So I mean, July is definitely where we're gonna see what our team is. That's gonna be our testing ground. So we need to load up these points, and we can't take anything for granted the next 4 matches, because it only gets tougher after that.
So make sure you subscribed again to March to Match Day. Brian does a really good job of covering FC Cincinnati's opponents. And, of course, even if we don't have a March to Match Day, because let's face it, Brian's busy. We all are. He does his best to get those out. There's still going to be 5 things to know that we bring out each and every week. So make sure you check those out. Let's talk a little Save the Crew, shall we? Boston, razzle, dazzle, brazzle. Single-handedly, guys. I don't know if you know this, but he is by himself, single-handedly, trying to save the Crew. He went up to Columbus over the weekend after appearing very briefly on Channel 12 WKRC. Boston, first of all, I didn't know there was that much makeup in the world to make you look so good on TV. I'm kidding, of course. I'm totally kidding. But let's talk about Save the Crew. You were at the game there at Matt Free Stadium. The Crew took on, was it Toronto or was it Atlanta?
New York. You're off in both
totally
counts.
Off. Yeah, wow. Anyway, you were there. Talk about the environment. Were the Crew fans welcoming? Like what? Let's talk about the event as a whole. How many FC Cincinnati fans ended up making the trip?
It was probably around 60 to 70, I'd say. There was a lot of us, and at first we were kind of spread out because they didn't give us seats exactly together, but we were fortunate enough to be in a section that wasn't entirely full, so we could all bunch up together and start cheering. And the Save the Crew, I mean, I guess I wasn't aware of how big it is, but it seemed like every single fan in that stadium, whether it was a family, a child, the supporter section, all had Save the Crew signs. In fact, a storm kicked up about the 70th minute, and they started flying all over the field and everything. Just there's no way to dodge it. If you're the TV cameras, Save the Crew is literally everywhere. But yeah, I started the morning off with an interview with Local 12, kind of trying to inform Cincinnatians why this matters to us. Not only is it the right thing to do, but it's also selfishly, this is our closest team. This is our rival. Without the Crew, we're going to have to go all the way to Chicago or Nashville, and you take away maybe a day trip, and now it becomes more of an overnight stay. something we're used to with Louisville and Indianapolis now. We want that. We don't want to lose that. We've had it in the USL. We want it in MLS. And so I kind of wanted to, make those feelings known. So Cincinnatians that may not be aware, this is what we have on the line as FC Cincinnati fans. And just to go up there and see the support, see the passion. We were stopped almost every 10 steps once we got in the stadium, people thanking us for coming out. A lot of the Crew fans already knew we were coming, and they're very appreciative. Got a lot of people coming over, into our section and just thanking us throughout the game. But it was a blast, and it was something that was a special moment. And Trisha was with us from Cincinnati Soccer Talk. So I didn't single-handedly save the Crew. Trisha and I split the duties. She went to pre-court and bargained, and I went to Sacramento or Austin and tried to lay down the law. So that's kind of what happened there. But afterwards, we went to pub. They got there in Columbus, and we all watched FC Cincinnati win, and Crew fans joined us as soon as the match was over. We had to leave around the 80th minute just to get there on time, but they joined us, and we had kind of this Ohio union where we all can be friends until next season, and it was something special.
So I guess I didn't realize that Trisha had made the trip. So now I know that all the heavy lifting was done by her, and you were just along for the ride.
Man, I was this close to taking the credit. I saw the little banner you have on our Facebook feed today of me single-handedly saving the Crew. I felt special for a moment, but now the truth's out.
He's glossing over the fact that on the banner I also have Boston Razzle Dazzle Brazzle. But anyway, no, I think it was great to see the FC Cincinnati fans go and support the Crew, because I too believe that Major League Soccer is built on rivalries. This is what makes it's not just soccer, but sports great. Could you imagine a football season for the Buckeyes if they didn't play Michigan? It would just be weird,
Sports needs rivalries, and I think that's actually been a pitfall of MLS, is they don't have many rivalries outside of with the new LA one and the North Carolina one. Right now the contrived rivalry for Columbus is Toronto. MLS needs this. They need these two teams that are this close. They need more rivalries together to make this a product worth watching and following. That's what's made USL such a hit the last 3 years.
And honestly, too, and this is why soccer in the Pacific Northwest has boomed. Mm-hmm. Portland joining after Seattle, and then Vancouver. I mean, that Cascadia Cup is fun to watch. Those matches are exciting. The fans are passionate. They're into it. And we need that. We need the Hell is Real Derby to kick things off from a Major League Soccer perspective here in Cincinnati. So for me, I've said it before here on the show. I've never been a Crew fan. I don't like much about Columbus. I'm sorry, Brad. I know you graduated from there. But for me, I just have never been a Crew guy. And so, but at the same time, I want to watch those games. I want to be at Nippert Stadium when the Crew come to town. I want to go to Matt Free to see FC Cincinnati take 3 points from the Crew. That to me is what makes Major League Soccer. So from that perspective, I really hope that the Crew stay in Columbus.
Yeah. All jokes aside, I do want to thank Gary Randolph and anyone else who had a part of organizing it. I was just a pawn, honestly, in the plan. And everyone who organized it, I think that someone, Jeremy had kind of painted a banner for it. I noticed some DNH guys, some Pride guys. Even the head of the Legion was there. Good job. Everyone who's in a supporter group that showed up and families, good on you. That's you were the ones that made that thing happen.
Rob, did you want to chime in? It looked like you were chomping at the bit.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say something. Which was that you don't have to be a Crew supporter to appreciate and want them to stay in Columbus. It benefits all FCC fans to have a rooting interest to have a rivalry that's such close proximity.
I've been corrected on the Twitter, gentlemen. I said that the FC Cincinnati had lost to Richmond. They have never lost to Richmond, but they had also never beaten Richmond until last year. So thank you, Brett, for correcting me on Twitter. This is why the CS tiers are the best.
Yep.
Yeah, look. I just want soccer to thrive in the state of Ohio. I wish the Crew were going to be here. It doesn't look great, but I think it would be good for both teams. I think it would be good, and I actually think it would be it's going to be better for Columbus if now that we're in the league. So we'll see. Maybe some developments will happen. We don't know. But I think it was pretty cool that FC Cincinnati fans went up there and showed their support. So kudos to Gary Randolph, as Boston said, for getting that organized. And, yeah, good stuff. Before we wrap up, I just want to remind everybody that the 2018 Cincinnati Soccer Talk Foot Golf outing is coming up on March 25th. Go sign up today over at
August.
What did I say?
March.
I meant August. August 25th. Goodness. August 25th. Go sign up at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/footgolf. It's $180 for your foursome. It's for a great cause. Sports games for kids. We're going to have 18 holes, followed by dinner at West Side Brewing. So it's a good event. Brad, you do a great job getting it organized. If folks want more information, what else do they need to know?
No, just go to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/footgolf. It's going to be really cool. The setup we're going to do this year at West Side Brewing, we're going to have a big watch party afterwards. So they got a big room there with projector TV. It's an away game where we're down at Tampa. So the foot golf's going to start around 3. Probably get to the bar back at about 3:30 to watch and have dinner, drinks, and watch a 7:30 match. So should be a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. And spots are limited. We've already had some good signups already. So make sure you get your foursome together and sign up before we run out. Last year we were close. We're going to open up a couple more teams this year, but make sure you get in early.
August 25th. Don't let me get that wrong. August
25th. 3 p.m.
3 p.m. at Woodland Golf Course. Again, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com/footgolf is where you can sign up. All right, let's begin to wrap things up here on episode 120. I'll start with Rob Pierce. Rob, thank you again for your efforts tonight, and of course your great article over at CST. Let's talk a little bit about that for folks who haven't had a chance to read it. What makes MLS economics so difficult?
I would say the terminology and how complicated it is. You have your TAM and your GAM, and you can use your TAM for this, and you can use your GAM for that, and you get extra for this and extra for that. And it's a really complicated issue if you think about it. I've got to give credit to the Total Soccer Show. I listened to one of their podcast episodes back in March, right at the start of the MLS season, and I started taking notes and thought that this would be a good primer for everybody that's not familiar with MLS economics. And so I just wrote everything down and kind of went to the MLS.com website, MLSsoccer.com. I think I'm saying that right. Went to their website and just kind of verified everything and just kind of made it as easy as I could for people to follow. And I'm glad everybody enjoyed it.
Yep, good job. You did a really good job with the piece. Go check it out over at CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Rob, appreciate you being with us.
Thanks. Good to be back.
Final thoughts from Brad Weigel. Brad, good job this week. I did have some comments early on in the show about your voice sounding deeper. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, they're used to listening to Brian, and he's got just that naturally higher pitch. So, when you have a little more of a man voice, it just comes off that way.
Your final thoughts.
Can I top that? No, shout out to Corey Rosell. Hopefully I said that name right. She's a huge Cincy soccer fan, FCC. She's been supporting a lot with her dad, Kevin. Give her a shout out. Thanks for listening to the show.
Good stuff, Brad.
Brian, get a man voice.
Oh, Brad, appreciate you being with us this week, buddy.
I just love listening to his kickoff of his march to match days. He just gets so high and excited.
All right.
Hello, everybody. March to match day.
Oh, we love you, Bri. We do.
I'm so glad I'm going to be on the road the next 3 days, so you can't hit me.
Oh, man. Final thoughts, Boston Brazil.
Hey, just looking forward to 2 home games. It looks like we have a big home stretch coming up, so that's awesome. I mean, just all this time on the road is great because we apparently win on the road now. But I just want to get to Nippert and just get to Nippert every single week. For those of you not aware, the USL will soon be starting a team in D3 in Toledo, and so we regret to inform you that Subs will be retiring and becoming the host of Toledo Soccer Talk.
Not happening.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, not happening. Appreciate you being with us, Mr. Razzle Dazzle Brazzle. I'm surprised you didn't want to give a shout out to Paul Nicholson for getting his first win as as a Cincinnati Dutch Lions head coach.
I know, and I almost thought about going down there Sunday, but it was like, no, that's too much. I've done too much over the last couple of days, but I should have, because 6-0, what a win!
And what city did they beat?
Oh man, Derby City Rovers in Louisville just absolutely destroyed them. That's good to feel. Yep. We haven't had a chance to beat Louisville this year, so I'm living through the Cincinnati Dutch Lions.
Oh, that's fantastic, Boston, Mr. Razzle Dazzle Brazzle. Appreciate you being with us.
Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so kudos and congrats to Paul Nicholson getting his first win as a head coach for the Dutch Lions. I'm sure, you got to go down to a Dutch Lions game because they're fun to watch. Finally got on the win column, though, for this season. So congrats to him. My final thoughts, again, thank you to everybody who downloads the show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. It was a lot of fun doing the show this week. A lot of fun having Michael Lahoud on the show. He did a fantastic job. Really enjoyed that interview. For more of our Major League Soccer coverage, for more of our USL coverage, you just got to go over to the website, CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com, to learn more about all things soccer in the Tri-State. That's going to do it for episode 120. My thanks to Boston Brazil, Brad Weigel, and Rob Pierce. I'm Subs, reminding you to watch your tackles, and we will see you all next week.